Hello, hello, glorious humans. I'm back to answer another question. And that question is, should I publish my book or should I self-publish my book? So I feel like well qualified to answer this because I've done both. And I've done two kinds of self-publishing as well. So let me share the journey with you. So I created the My Shining Year Goals workbooks and planners back in 2010. They've gone on to be used by over 400,000 people worldwide. You can check them out at myshiningyear.com. They've been hugely popular, but beyond my wildest dreams. And I have self-published them that pretty much that whole time, except for the last 2 years. And the self-publishing process for me is where I saw the biggest amount of growth. And I think the reason is that you take absolute ownership for your own marketing of it. Because when it comes down to it, publishing houses have very little skills in that department. They just do. It really, 99% of the work is yours. It's really up to you in terms of what you can do to market the book. And number two, you can earn so much more fucking money from self-publishing. So for me, I've self-published both using print-on-demand services. So Amazon has its Kindle Direct Publishing service, and there is a bunch more out there like Lulu and Ingram Spark. And what print-on-demand means is that when somebody orders the book, that company prints it and then ships it directly to them. So it takes a little bit longer it might take them a couple of extra days to get the orders through, and you might earn less money. However, you don't have to front up any money. All you do is you get the royalty checks. Yeah. I also did self-publishing by printing kind of en masse in China, and I spent like $500,000 in 1 year to print books, and then they would go on boats across the ports, across the seas to different countries and go through distribution houses, and then the distribution houses would mail them out. And that's amazing in a lot of ways because you do have more flexibility in the kinds of things that you can produce. However, it is very expensive, like the upfront. And two, there is a whole lot of additional fees involved because shit's going to get lost in the mail. The port will have it stuck for weeks on end, and then you have to pay duty on it in 7 hours, or it won't come on deck. And it's kind of intense. So I don't print in China anymore because I didn't find it a joyful experience. It takes a really long time to get it to where you need it to be through the Chinese printers. Usually you work with kind of like an in-between agency to help you negotiate and work out exactly what specs you need. It's kind of a big process. So those are the two ways of print on demand, of self-publishing. And then you've got the publishing deal. So the only time that I would go with a publishing deal is if you need it for cred. But other than that, nah, I wouldn't bother. So I've had a publishing deal for the last 2 years of the workbooks, and I'm going back to self-publishing because it makes me more money and I sell more books and I like to control the whole process. Ta-da! And for me, the best option for me is to do print on demand. So even though there's less profit margin up front, so if you think when you print in China, the books will be maybe like $3 or $4 each because I print full color. But then you have to add on all your shipping costs and then the distribution house costs and then the actual shipping costs, like the postage and shipping. And then there's going to be all the ones that get lost and then you have to replace because shit got broken and books are sealed on back to front and all kinds of wacky shit. So even though it seems very cheap, especially compared to print on demand where they might go, okay, it's like $12 to print that book. very quickly that, $3 or $4 to print that book goes up to $12. So that's just my experience of it anyway. So for me, I'm always going to choose print-on-demand books. And the benefit of print-on-demand books, I find, is that there is no wastage, because even when you have a hugely successful book, there will be ones that don't sell or have been printed wrong or whatever, and that all just has to get destroyed. And it's like a whole lot of carbon cost to go across. They've gone from China to here, and then you're like, and then it's got sent out to someone, and they're like, that's not the book, or it's missing the pages. I mean, it doesn't happen to everyone. It's like such a small percentage, but when it does, you're like, oh my God, there's so much waste, and that's been shipped on there. The carbon cost involved is insane. So, and even just the carbon cost of it, like going China and the thing is pretty huge. So for me, from an environmental level, I like the idea of print on demand because there's less shipping involved. And of course, I love ebooks and stuff like that, but for planners, it's a little bit tricky because I always offer digital, but people usually like to write in it. Anyway, so that's my thoughts. That's like after 10 years of being in the publishing game and the self-publishing game, that's where I've ended up. I've tried out all the things, and I fucking love print on demand. I love self-publishing, and I'm gonna keep on doing it. All right, I hope this has been useful. Bit of a ramble, but that's what I'm here for. I'm sending you so much love. If you've got questions, let me know. I'm happy to help out in any way I can. And if you want to know more about how I've managed to sell that many books, 400,000, and how to publish, how to write your book in the first place, and then market the absolute bejesus out of it, go to my e-course, 40 Days to Create 40 Days to Finish Your Book. Da-da-da-da! And it's got a whole marketing section at the end. So if you go to leoniedawson.com leoniedawson.com/40-days, you will find it. Ta-da! Got there in the end. Mwah!